temperature just so it would be easy. But I'm just going to grease this. I'm just going to
shortbread jam bars.
Shortbread jam bars. It's like this easy, impressive dessert. It's just a nice one to have to be able to pull out, you know, with blueberry jam, or I'm thinking of you, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at the recipe, what I've got here is already measured: 2 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar, and I think a quarter teaspoon of salt.
Do you need that you have there? That hand tool? What is that?
Yes, thank you for asking. This is a pastry blender. They don't all look exactly like this, but what this does is when you're cutting fat into flour, when you're trying to blend the two, and you don't want to use much of your body heat because it will melt the fat, the butter, whatever, butter, and so you use either forks, or some people use 2 knives and go like this. I have this handy tool that I've had for 30 years, and it'll help when I put the butter in. It'll help break the butter up and keep it in nice chunks without it melting from my body heat.
Randie, why would sometimes recipes say you have to sift the flour? I mean, I know it separates it, but why would that be important? Like, because I notice you're not doing it on this
I
one.
would say there are a couple reasons to sift flour. I'm not doing it on this. I just really stirred my dry ingredients together, and I'm like comfortable that that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first reason to use sifted flour is if you're making something where you want the batter to be smooth, like a cake. And so you want to make sure that there aren't any lumps, that kind of thing. Any, little pieces of flour that stick together from humidity. And another reason to sift flour is if you're wanting to mix dry ingredients together very, very well. So I would say you'll mostly see sifting for cakes or on old-fashioned recipes.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need a sifter to do that. I mean, I have a sifter and I never use it. I prefer to use my fine mesh strainer.
Oh.
It's just faster and easier. It doesn't, you don't have to.
Well, that's good to know, because I was going to have to go buy one. But I have one of those.
Oh, that I use that almost daily. So now here's what I'm doing. I've got cold butter, and I'm just cutting the holes. This is a cup total. Each stick is a half cup, and I'm just cutting it in pieces. And you can see even where I just touch the butter, it gets a little melty. So that's why the pastry blender. And here it goes. And then it's just, and I just use this kind of movement to kind of just smash the butter. And I want it to ultimately look like kind of a coarse meal. Anybody want to try it and see? Yeah, go for it.
Oh, you meant the
I
technique.
never cook.
I was like, you don't want to taste that flour. What? Did you sit down? Like, I'm not trying that.
No.
It's disgusting. That's exactly what I thought.
You guys thought to take it.
Yes.
No.
That's
That's
right.
funny.
You got to learn how to cook. Yeah, that's where we are. You guys are like, no, we're not tasting
It doesn't take long, does it?
I think I actually have one, but I never cook. So.
I never knew what it was. You're going to change now.
Yeah.
I don't think many people leave here without their fire getting lit.
Yeah. Amen.
So, as you can see, it makes quick work of it too. I mean, if you were using a fork, it would take longer, and if you were using 2 knives, it would take longer too. I mean, it has all these little arms doing their job.
And why not put it in your food processor?
I could put it in the food processor, but I'm going to be using my processor for something else, and I don't honestly mind doing this. It just takes a couple of minutes.
Would you pulse it if you were using a food processor?
I would pulse it. And I probably, if I were using the processor, this butter came out of the refrigerator, I would probably use butter that was frozen to put in the processor, because it does generate some heat. So
Okay. That's good to know.
I'd use frozen butter.
And so what's the importance of having it cold? So that it blends
So
better?
so it actually stays in chunks and doesn't melt.
Okay.
And that will create a tender dough,
Gotcha.
which is going to be shortbread. Okay.
So you would
That's in
make
great
shortbread
shape.
cookies like this?
Yeah.
I love shortbread cookies.
Mama's
It's
little
really
baby
good.
loves shortbread.
That's it. So, okay. Now, per the recipe, I'm going to save a cup of this. And the rest of it just goes into the grease pan. I'm just going to make sure the bottom's all mixed in here too.
I wonder if you can use spelt flour.
I don't know, but I do have some things that kind of can give you an alternative.
I know, that's what I wanted to know about rice flour, so it would be gluten-free.
And that's it. I'm patting it in. And that
Seems simple.
really
Do
simple.
that with a kid.
Nice and firm. And then I'm going to just rinse up. Then grab another cup measure. And I'm using apricot preserves. I always have them. I use them for several things. So, and Smucker's is my preference. I just don't think there's a better apricot preserve on the market.
Did you eat that plum stuff that you made? Is that all gone? Do you remember that stuff you made the first class? Where you had all those, were they plums? All those things that you were pitted and you had so many of them? And then you made a preserve? Were they pears?
Oh, there were
No.
plums.
They're plums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preserves.
She had to pit them, that's what I
Yeah.
remembered.
Yeah.
I don't remember, I still remember that. That was so good.
Oh, we had the same class.
Yeah.
I were at a different class, but we had
Different class.
pears.
You had poached pears
That may have
the
been another
last time,
class.
but this
That may
was
have
the
been a
first
class
one.
of Madonna's. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
it was.
But you were, I don't know. I don't know.
That doesn't even sound familiar.
It
Maybe
doesn't.
it was another class that I've
I
taken
don't
without
know.
you.
So like when I spread this,
We're busy eating something else.
oh, that must be Rebecca.
You were distracted.
So you have to just kind of do it gingerly because,
So it doesn't fold over.
yeah, so the flour doesn't come up.
Does it have to be corner to corner to corner? Like to edge, or will it?
I guess so,
to-
every bite has it.
I would, yeah. Hi, how are you? This goes on top.
Oh.
I'm just spreading it out, and I'm going to gently press it down. And it calls for sliced almonds. I kind of like these. These are slivered. They're just a little crunchier. So I think it calls for half a cup. So I'm going to eyeball it.
It's crazy.
How are you, Rebecca?
Good. But I'm
There's
here.
water behind you.
Thank you.
Okay. In the oven.
That's it?
That's it.